This is a regular design review board meeting of the City of Milton. I'm Ken Warlick. This is a 7-member board appointed by the City of Milton Mayor and City Council, created for the purpose of holding public hearings and making recommendations. Design Review Board reviews plans and makes recommendations to the Community Development Director for the developments, except single-family residential, in the form-based code and overlay districts. In addition, the Design Review Board approves or denies demolition requests and makes recommendations to the Board of Zoning of Appeal on variances. So before we get started, I would like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank y'all so much. So at this time, I would like to go ahead and introduce our staff and board members.
Jacqueline, planner.
Rima Abdel Fattah, zoning technician.
Samia Coker, Cheltenham Walk.
Casey Robinson, Parkbrook Trace.
Ken Warlick, Hipworth Road.
Danielle Gagne, Morning Mountain Way.
David Jackson, Bethany Way.
Great, thank you. So next I'm going to call for the approval of the agenda for tonight.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to request amend the agenda to move 8A new business before 5A demolition of structures. This will allow our guest zoning manager to present historical and background information about demolition.
Okay. Then can I get a motion to move 8A ahead of 5 tonight?
I'll make a motion to move 8A, agenda item 8A to the front of the line. Item
Second.
5.
All right, so I have a motion for Mr. Robinson and a second for Mr. Jackson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Then to start off, Robin, welcome.
Let's approve the minutes.
Minutes,
Sorry.
okay.
I was just trying to get ready. I'm sorry. I didn't want to push you. It's okay.
Bouncing us all over the place.
Confusing me, Robin. Then.
I know.
All right, so then can we go ahead and get an approval of tonight's minutes with the change?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's minutes of the Tuesday, May 7th Design Review Board meeting.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we've got a motion for Mr. Robinson, a second for Ms. Gagne. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Meetings, minutes pass. All right, so then moving on.
Now it's fine.
Well, I believe we need to do the amendment or the motion for last month's
The
first.
minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah, last month's minutes. Yep.
Okay. All right, so can I get a motion for an approval for the minutes from, let's see, which one was that? April 9th?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 9th, 2024.
I second.
All right, we've got a motion for Mr. Robinson, a second for Ms. Coker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great.
And I wasn't present, so I'm going to abstain from that.
Got it. Okay. All right, moving on. New business. Robin, please.
Okay, I will introduce myself. I don't think I've met some of the new members. I'm Robin McDonald. I'm the zoning manager. So I'm here tonight per your request to get some history on the demolition permits here in Milton. As I was going through it, I was feeling really, really old. So I've been here since before the incorporation of the city of October 2006. So it kind of takes me down a memory lane. So anyway, it's not like it's that exciting or that difficult, but anyway, so obviously the incorporation of the city occurred in December 1st of 2006. The zoning ordinance was originally adopted on December 21st of 2006, and this is the ordinance itself that adopted it. And you're wondering, well, what did you adopt? We were never a city. We basically took Fulton County, what they called zoning resolution, which is basically an ordinance. We took it kit and caboodle, the entire thing that included things that had nothing to do with Milton, but that's just what the preference was at the time. And except for signs, there were a lot of lawsuits going on with billboards. So our attorneys replaced the existing sign ordinance within the Fulton County ordinance to be content neutral. So that was the one item, large item that was replaced. So what was adopted in '06 regarding demolition? So here is what the ordinance said, and this refers to, at the time, let me see, State Route 9 overlay. So at that time, before we adopted form-based codes, there were what was known as the Northwest Overlay Districts, because it was Northwest Fulton, I'm sorry. And then there was State Route 9 Overlay District, which is now what you know as Deerfield Form-Based Code. Primarily, there's a little bit off of Bethany Bend on the lower part that is not included in it. And then within what was known as Northwest Fulton Overlay District, that was the parent, the mother, and the two children was called the Crabapple Overlay District, and then the Birmingham Crossroads Overlay District. I should say Crabapple Crossroads Overlay District. So those were the different overlay districts that comprise the city. I go into that detail only because I think it's a very interesting fact at the time that we became a city. In Fulton County, there was no design review board process for State Route 9 overlay. It just says design review process, but it didn't go to a design review board because there was one in Fulton County. So I just said that. What was adopted again in regard to the overlay, the Northwest Fulton Overlay District, now known as Rural Milton, and I stated included Crabapple and Birmingham. The DRB at that time required to review all plans for development for compliance and make recommendations to the director prior to approval of LDP, building permit, demo permit, or primary variance. So this was the area that we know as rural Milton, even from 2006 required the DRB to review. So it took a bit to create the DRB and the Planning Commission and the BZA. So in April of 2007, 5 months later, we amended the ordinance to include State Route 9 Overlay District to have be reviewed by the DRB for a demolition permit. So that's the section of the code at the time, what it looked like. So anyway, that's one of the many reasons why this area wanted to become a city was they felt a bit slighted that why does Highway 9 not get to have its items reviewed by the DRB? So that was resolved once we became a city. In 2010, we adopted what was known as the Historic Preservation Ordinance and creation of the Historic Preservation Commission, which was Article 18 of the zoning ordinance now contained in the UDC. So the HPC granted the ability to approve or deny demolition of designated historic structures only. Only 2 structures exist in the city with this designation. That is the Birdhouse at Hopewell and Birmingham Roads, the senior center. I think many of you know sits on top of the hill. It's one of the oldest structures in North Fulton. The second structure that was designated as historic through the HPC was Bloom at Hopewell and Thompson Road, the former general store across from Bell Memorial Park. The HPC is not currently constituted, but still exists in our code in the UDC. That was probably around 2014-15 was not, the council decided not to reappoint members to that board. In June 2012, we adopted the Crabapple Form-Based Code originally, formally, basically this area that was called Crabapple Crossroads Overlay. At that point, obviously, we required demolition permit for both residential and non-residential structures. Now, we didn't say residential, non-residential, and some of the other sections, but it's always been interpreted to be all structures. It's just the way this was worded. I just want to make sure you understand. It wasn't like we were just being more detailed in it. In April of 2013, council approved the Deerfield Form-Based Code. Again, primarily the State Route 9 overlay. What was that? And the same thing, the same wording was used in the Deerfield Form-Based Code to require review of plans for demolitions in that area. So then here comes along May 2015. So at this point in time, the HPC had dissolved, and to be honest, they really only had oversight on designated structures, which I said was only 2 structures at that point. In time. So I think it was the desire of the Design Review Board as well at the time, as well as council, supported the idea of creating more teeth for the DRB to be able to approve or deny a demolition permit. And this is the ordinance from the section 64-2423 that gave the power to the Design Review Board for approval or denial back in May of 2015. Within the past 3 years, and I apologize, I did not find the exact date that we brought this to the city council at a work session, that we brought the idea of only having the DRB review structures listed on the 1996 historic survey, or as we were trying to change it the last minute, the Georgia, whatever, historic GIS. So basically that's the same thing. And the result of that, the council stated they wanted the requirements to remain the same. And with that, I will be happy to answer any questions. So that pretty much is the history of our demolitions here in Milton.
Thank you, Robin. I have a question.
Sure.
At what point was it made to where we had to advertise for those demolitions?
So that came about, so I think it was 2 years ago, the state legislature amended what's called the Georgia Procedures Law for zoning. And so basically it kind of tightened things up. And because it is a final decision, when we update our ordinances and requirements for notification, that our attorneys determined that because you have final decision on that issue, it required the zoning procedures law to take effect. So it wasn't any doing of us specifically, but it was because of we're following the Georgia procedures law. So that's where that came from. I will tell you, as we discussed timing, our ordinance requires 30 days. But the Georgia procedures law says between 15 and 45 days. And to full disclosure, I suggested that we keep everything consistent. So we have a lot of boards and a lot of legal notifications going out. We have to do it for the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have to do it for Planning Commission, City Council. And so I was like, let's try to keep everything consistent. So I will say that could be something that we could amend in the code to change it from 30-day notice to 15-day just for the demolitions and still be consistent with Georgia procedures law. So.
Okay. Any other questions for Robin? Thank
Okay,
you.
great. And I was gonna say something too, just unrelated, but I know probably some of you know, we just recently adopted the Unified Development Code, UDC. I know you guys have a packed agenda tonight, so I will be happy on another meeting to come back and kind of give you an overview of how it impacts. It doesn't really change any of the regulations, but I believe it's going to make it easier for you as well as the public to understand what's required for different types of permitting. So I'll be happy to do that if you all desire that, but I won't hinder it for tonight's long meeting. So anyway,
Great. Thank you, Robin.
okay,
We do appreciate it, and thank you for putting
Yep.
that presentation together.
no problem.
Okay, so then with that, let's move on to demolition of structures. 5A, 12245 King Circle. Jackie, if you can go ahead and give us a little bit of information about this one, please.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and good evening, everyone. So our first demo case for tonight is 12245 King Circle. The size of this property is 3.21 acres. Residential is the existing use of this property. The house was built in 1950, and we have the applicant here, Mr. Manny Farhan, request to demolish the existing house. To give you a little overview, this specific property is located in the southeast corner of Milton, right close to Roswell. Here's the site plan that we received from the applicant. It shows the structure to be demolished. We have the existing house with basement, and then as well as the existing fence on property will be demolished. The gravel road that's in there, as well as the well, the applicant states that it will be remain. Here's the photos of the structures to be demolished. And just for supplemental information, no portion of the property lies within the flood zone area. All specimen trees are to be saved and well to be remain. And again, I'm just showing the criteria. You're all familiar with it. It's now located in the UDC. I'm not going to go over each of these items, but after researching of this property, this is not listed as historic. So therefore, staff recommends approval per the plan that they submitted to us with the following standard comments. They have to complete a demo permit application and make sure that the plan shows the location of 3 safe fans, silt fans, and should they decide to cap the water well, they have to reach out to Fulton County because they're the one that regulates that. And then lastly, after demolition, any disturbed site and exposed soil must be leveled and permanently grassed. Any question for staff?
Nope. All right,
We'll
at
ask
this
the
time, can the applicant come forward, please?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Did you have anything to say to add to staff's report, or?
Well, basically what I can say is that the plan for this property is to remain agricultural. They will be replacing this old house with a new ranch house similar to the neighborhood. There are no different plans. Mr. Avery is planning to build this house for his son, and basically it will be another similar plan to the adjacent houses that are in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Any,
you, sir.
any questions for the applicant? No? All right, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
At this time, I'll open up public comment.
We have none.
None? Anyone in the audience? All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close public comment and open up discussion for the board. Seeing no discussion, can we get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the demolition at 12245 King Circle.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Jackson and a second from Mr. Robinson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Congrats. Good luck, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. Demolition of structures, 5B, 14735 Freemanville Road.
Okay, second demo case for tonight is 14735 Freemanville Road. The size of the property is 2.317 acres. It's zoned agricultural. Currently, the existing use is residential. The structure was built in 1962, and we have the applicant tonight, Mr. Marty Anchor, request to demolish existing house, deck, driveway, sidewalk, woodshed, wood fencing, and power pole line. And just to show you the aerial view where that property is located, it's just right across the White Columns subdivision. Shows the structures to be demolished. They're all indicated in this orange color. So you have the house, and then you have the fences north of that. And then, of course, there's two sheds and power pole. Structures to be demolished. So there's no portion of the property lies within the flood zone area. Well to be removed, all trees to remain. However, removal of the overhead utility lines and poles will be coordinated with the corresponding utility company. And of course, our standard criteria that I always show. And then lastly, this property is not listed as historic. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following comments, but I just want to make sure that they coordinate with the utility company before removing underground or any overhead utility lines. That ends my presentation for this case. Any question for staff?
Great. Seeing no questions, can the applicant come forward at this time?
Good evening. I'm Marty Anchor with Anchor Custom Homes, 4045 St. Michel Lane. I'm the custom home builder who will build the new home on this property. And we have a neighborhood that we're developing just down the street called Deer Haven Preserve that's just half a mile up on the left of this property. And the home that we're going to build there is kind of congruent with what we're doing over there. Beautiful classic architecture that'll take advantage of the natural topography of the land and we hope be an enhancement to the beauty of Freemanville Road.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant? Beautiful homes, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, seeing no questions, I will go ahead and open up public comment.
We have none.
None, I'll close public comment. Discussion for the board? Seeing none, can we get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the demolition of 14735 Freemanville Road.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion from Ms. Coker, a second from Mr. Jackson. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Congrats. Thank you. Also, for you, and I forgot to mention as well for the first applicant, I just want to appreciate you guys with the issue with having to push this from last month to this month. I think as we're trying to get a kind of grasp around these demolitions and the timing stuff, that's why kind of the presentation and the questions came up this morning. So as we can kind of better it and better the process for you as a citizen. So thank you for your patience and congrats to both of you. We'll move on. All right, 5C, 15756 Hopewell Road is.
Mr. Chair, this property is, they've submitted a withdrawal. So I'm going to just read the letter for the record. It was addressed to me and it's from Mr. Mahir Badir, the applicant. And he said, Jackie, as we discussed, we would like to withdraw the application for the design review board hearing regarding this demo. The property is no longer under contract. Thank you for your assistance. So this is sufficient letter to stating that he is demolished or he is withdrawing the case. So we're just going to formally accept the withdrawal by voting and making a motion.
Okay.
Yep.
So then I'll just go ahead and start. Then I'll make a motion to allow or approve the withdrawal of 15756 Hopewell Road.
I'll second.
All right. So we have a motion for Mr. Warlick, a second for Mr. Robinson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. All right. Moving on then. 5D, 13810 Haygood Road. Jackie?
Yes, sir. Our fourth case for tonight is 13810 Haygood Road. This is a 2.8 acre size lot. It's zone AG1. Existing use is residential. The house was built in 1960. Our applicant, Heather McKeldin, requests to demolish existing house, deck, driveway, and metal shed. And this is the location of the property just west of Haygood Road. The site plan that was submitted to us indicates limits of disturbance, and it shows the property to demolished. And at the same time, they've indicated that the metal shed, which is, as you can see in the setback, side yard setback, is also going to be demolished. And here's the photo of the structures. Then our supplemental information. Again, no portion of the property lies within the flood zone area. Water well to be removed. However, there's 2 large trees will be removed, one of which has a 15-inch dogwood and 41 inches oak. And the rest of the trees on the property to remain. So those are the only 2 trees that will be affected during this demolition activities.
Are those, is that the circumference of the tree?
Yes.
Okay.
So specimen trees is 15 inches in diameter or
Okay.
more. And with that, that requires arborist review before they can remove that. I'm just gonna skip the criteria for approving a demo, and then this project. And then again, staff recommends approval, just to make sure and emphasize that no trees to be removed without obtaining a permit from the city. That's it.
Thank you, Jackie. Any questions for staff? No? Okay, at this time, would like the applicant to come forward, please.
I'm Heather McKeldin. I'm representing Jason Hips Homes, the custom home builder, and John Fasano, the property owner. The intent will be to demo this house, and then Jason Hips Homes will be constructing a new single-family home in its place.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? None? All right, thank you. I'll open up for public comment.
We have none.
None? All right, seeing none, I'll close public comment. Board discussion? No discussion? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to proceed with the demolition of 13810 Haygood Road.
I'll second.
All right, a motion from Ms. Gagné, a second from Mr. Jackson. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Congrats, thank you. All right, moving on to 5E, 14600 Cogburn Road.
Sorry, my presentation. Okay, sorry about that. So our next case is 14600 Cogburn Road. This is a big parcel, size is 21.49 acres. It's zoned agricultural within the rural Milton overlay district. The existing use currently is residential. The structure was built in 1958, and we have the applicant tonight, Mr. Paul Nocharli, request to demolish existing house with carport, driveway, barn, and shed. So just going to show you the aerial view of the property. It's dated, close to the Hopewell Francis Road roundabout. And I've encircled the structures to be demolished. You have the existing house, the 2 small sheds, and the barn. Here are some photos of the structures to be demolished. Then just a supplemental information, a minor plat was approved to subdivide the 21.49 acre parcel into 7 3-acre lots. Just additionally, just to give you what that parcel looks like, there is a 50-foot undisturbed vegetative buffer adjacent to all streams and creeks will be left and maintained. They're not going to disturb that. Additionally, the site does not have state waters requiring undisturbed, does have state waters requiring undisturbed buffers. There are critical erosion areas on site. There's no wetland or lake within 500 feet of the property. However, there is a stream buffer within 500 feet on the property. So there are several specimen trees within the limits of disturbance, but at this stage of construction/demolition, no trees will be affected. Then we have the criteria for approving a demo permit. And then this property is not listed as historic, and therefore staff recommends approval with the following comments. Any questions for staff?
Nope, seeing none. All right, thank you, Jackie. Can the applicant come forward at this time, please?
My name is Paul Charlie. I represent the developer, CCVH Cogburn. The plan is to subdivide this property into 7 lots, 3 acres each, and build 7 beautiful homes on it.
Great.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Questions for the applicant?
What, on the plat, what is this that's going through? It looks like,
Stream buffer.
that's the stream buffer?
It
Okay.
is, yeah.
Do you have, just curious, your intentions, are you planning on crossing over that or just coming in from Cogburn?
Yeah, we're gonna cross, no. The
For
entrance is
those
gonna
3
be from
individual.
Francis Road, the
Mhm.
main entrance, but we're gonna cross over the creek with
Okay.
a bridge to serve 2 lots.
Got it, okay.
So will there be one main entrance to the 7?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And where will that be on Cogburn?
From Francis Road.
From Francis Road.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? No, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
I will open up for public comment.
There are no public comments.
Okay. I will close public comments and board discussion. Seeing none, can I call for a motion?
Make a motion to approve agenda item E, 14600 Cogburn Road.
I'll second.
All right, we had a motion for Mr. Robinson, a second for Ms. Gagny. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Congrats, good luck. Thank you. All right,
We're getting close.
we have more.
Chopping them down.
2 more.
5F, 12595 Broadwell Road.
All right. Yes, Mr. Chair, our next demo case application is 12595 Broadwell Road. The subject site is a 1.28 acre lot located in Crabapple District, just north of Broadwell Road. The property is zoned T4 open within the Crabapple Form-Based Code. The applicant requests to demolish the existing house. That house was built circa between 1920 and 1929. That makes it historic architectural wise. And I'm just going to share the aerial view of the property where it's at. It's close to Broadwell Pavilion, which is a small pocket park that the city owned. So this is the site plan that was submitted to us. So the intent is to demolish the historic structure, which is this one. And then the one that was, it's another attached garage that was added, I believe in 1995, will also be demolished, but has no any historic significance. Here's the photo of the structures to be demolished. I also add that As mentioned earlier, Georgia Historic Resources Survey identified the one-story frame conventional craftsman house as historic structure due to its architecture. According to the survey, the house was built in 1920 and between 1920 and 1929. And during this period, from about 1905 until the early 1920s, the craftsman architecture style was the dominant style for small houses built throughout the country. So, features of the structures, as you see in the picture, you have low pitch gabled roof with wide unenclosed eave overhang. It's 1 story high, gabled dormers, side-oriented gable roof, and porch is contained under the main roof. So those are characteristics of a craftsman style architecture. So further, the 2 outbuildings, which if you have a copy of that historic survey, that's the barn and storage shed. Both of those structures are no longer in existence. At some point in time, they probably demolish it. We don't know when, and we don't have any records that proves, when's the date of that demolition. And then, as mentioned earlier, this attached garage, they've added it in 1995. But the structure has not been identified as historic. So just showing, as mentioned earlier, the survey where we go to check if certain property is listed. So that's what we get from the state, a copy of that.
You're talking about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Then, of course, we have this criteria for approving a demolition permit. And number 1, yes, is the building or structure listed on Georgia Historic or Natural GIS system? The answer to that is yes. Is there any historic significance? That's yes for the architecture. Is there any significance, importance of the building? Again, that being old, that's why the reason why that included that in the survey. Would it be difficult or impossible to reproduce such a building? With the materials that use, yes, from 1929. I mean, we can replicate it with, modern materials, but it will never be the same. Whether the building structure, site, or object is one of the last remaining examples of its kind in the city, the answer to that is no. We have several. Whether there are definite plans for use of the property if proposed demolition is carried out. So we don't have a plan that was submitted to us. And when I say plan, definite plans. So we look at, not just concept plan. We look at, do you have a site plan? What is your intent? What building? We want to see renderings, things like that. And then whether reasonable measures can be taken to save the building. So it's up for discussion. It's up for the board, for staff to, let's say, do we want to keep some portion of this building, materials, or keep the whole thing? It's yours decision to make. We're just here to provide guidance. And then lastly, whether the building structure, site, or object is capable of earning reasonable economic return on its value. So whatever proposed building they want for this property or whatever proposed use, definitely, it's probably, especially if it's going to be an office or a retail store, there will be some economic return for that. So, as again, I mentioned that this property is listed as historic, therefore application does not address item number 6, and this is the reason for our deferral, just to allow the applicants to sit with staff and, submit a definite plan, and then we'll provide guidance to them. So, with this, I asked the board to defer the case, give us 30 days for next month, and come back here to present a more concrete plan to present to y'all.
Okay.
Any question for staff?
I have a question for you.
Okay.
This is, you said this does meet the criteria of the Georgia Historic Resources as far as preservation from natural resources, but it was not on that presentation that
Robin had.
that Ms. McDonald had for us.
So the 1996 survey that she said earlier, that is the Georgia National Historic. Yeah.
Okay.
We tried to change it last minute, but we weren't able to do so.
Okay.
But that is what she's referring to.
Okay.
So there's been no plan submitted for what they want to do with this plot. They just want to demo
Yeah,
the building,
demo and yep.
just to demo the building.
So, I mean, if they say they want a demo and they want to replace the whole structure with an office/retail store, it's up to them, if that's what they're proposing. But we have to see that. Staff will need to sit down with them and make sure, go over the plans, especially that area, although this property is not included in the district at Mayfield, if you remember. But we want to make sure that we look at this plan holistically. We want to make sure they're not building something different because we want to complement, especially architecture. But that's probably something that we have to flesh out or discuss more during the next meeting once we have the concrete plan from them.
This is T4 zoning?
T4 open.
We're open.
Yeah.
Okay.
So T4, the difference between T4 and a T4 open is that T4 open has more uses. Unlike T4, they're very restrictive. So we have to also look at the code, what type of use is applicable for that zoning district.
Has the
go ahead.
applicant expressed that they'd be ready to give us what their plans are in the next 30
Yes,
days?
yeah.
Okay.
Has there been any record of any modifications made to the original structure?
So I believe the second page, rather the first page, it did say something, asbestos
Altered.
siding was installed in 1990 or 1960?
1960.
Yeah.
Dormers?
So that's-
95, they had the addition of
Yeah.
the rear and front dormers.
So those are the only things
So
that
it's
was
not-
on that
it's
survey.
not Really original.
The roof is not, the windows are not, well, we can save that for discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? No? So would the applicant please come forward?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Scott Peters on behalf of the applicant. We are in agreement with the request for a deferral for 30 days. We have been in discussions with the city regarding this property with the mayor, city manager, and zoning staff about various possible uses of this property, some of which may be purely private, some of which may be involve some public uses. So just because of the timing of things, this property is under contract. We need to keep this application active to remain in compliance with our purchase contract. So we are requesting a deferral. I will say, just briefly, there are a number of things in the detailed historical report that I think would demonstrate this is really not a historic structure. It is an old structure, but it has been modified numerous times. And there are certainly things that are worth preserving. And I think we can go through those and show you that this is not one of those. But obviously that is left for a later date. I just wanted to mention it today so you are aware that is our position. But we are in agreement with the request for a deferral for 30 days. And we've already submitted a base site plan to staff, hopefully have the renderings by the end of this week, and are setting up meetings to go forward with that. So by the time we come back to you, that will be accomplished.
Okay,
Okay?
great, thank you. Any questions for the applicant? No? All right, thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
I will open up for public comment.
We have none.
We have none. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close public comment and board discussion.
So would we make the motion to defer? Or would we deny the?
I think,
I think we approved the
You-
deferral, right?
yeah, we would
Okay.
make the motion to approve the deferral.
Okay.
Or to approve a deferral of this
Just making sure.
until next month. Okay. Yeah, just a quick couple comments. I agree. I looked at a historic home one time, very similar to this one, a majority of the original roofing, original siding, original windows, original flooring, it wasn't, it didn't have addition. Now, the inside was, something different, but that to me had historic value and was not past the point of a hodgepodge slash being able to restore or the verge of just too far gone as far as being able to restore. So I tend to agree even after reviewing this report. However, I do agree with the decision to do a deferral just to see kind of what the future plans of that are. So.
Mhm. And I just want to clarify, the site and the building are considered historic, right?
Only the structure.
Only the structure?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right. Do we want to get a motion?
Make a motion to defer F or 5F 12595 Broadwell Road.
I second.
All right. So we have a motion from Mr. Jackson, a second from Mrs. Coker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. All right. We'll see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one more.
Yes, our last one.
5G 15555 Hopewell Road.
555.
I'm not going to repeat that.
I made sure to say it slowly so I didn't leave anything out.
All right, board members, our last case for demolition tonight. It's 15555 Hopewell Road. It's also another large parcel. The size is 13.297 acres, zone AG1 within the rural Milton overlay. The existing use currently is residential. However, we can't find any information in Fulton County Tax Digest that states when the building was built. So the year it was built is unknown. And the applicant, Mr. Grant Hafner, is requesting to demolish the existing house, detached garage, barn, and gravel driveway. So this is just an aerial view of that location. As you can see, you'll see a body of water just north of that, which is part of the Chicken Creek. And so here's the site plan. The one bordered in this black layout are the structures to be demolished. Blue ones is just indicated the called the critical root zone for specimen trees, but none of those trees will be removed. So this is one of those structures that's already dilapidated. Went to the site just to check and confirm, and it looks like it's been a while since that house been there's no inhabitants, just judging by the look of it. And of course, the detached garage and the barn just at the rear section of the property. So portions of this property lie within a hazard zone area. Just like the last one, there is also a minor plat that was approved to subdivide the property into 3 lots. And the structures to be located, or the structures to be demolished are located in lots 1 and 2. Septic tank to be demolished, no specimen trees to be impacted during demolition. We have the criteria for approving a demo permit. Since this is not a historic structure of any kind, staff recommends approval with the following comments.
Sorry, I was studying. Thank you, Jackie. Any questions for staff? I have one, actually. Just looking at the site plan,
Okay.
it looks like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like the garage is currently right on top of where it looks like the plat recorded shows stream buffer. Is that correct?
Let's see. Yeah, looks like, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And so this will be divided into 3 properties?
Three lots.
All access off of Hopewell Road?
Yes, that's correct.
And that's already been approved, correct, or no?
Yeah, the plat was approved.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's already been subdivided and it's been recorded, but this is what it looks like.
Even with structures on more than one lot?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch up.
I just have dealt with Fulton County before, and sometimes they won't allow you to do it,
Oh, okay.
subdivide it unless if there's portions of the existing structures over property lines.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Any other questions for staff? No? All right. Would the applicant please come forward?
Hey, good evening. My name is Grant Hafner, and I would like to clarify, I could be wrong, but I believe that the structures are only on lot 1.
Okay.
But but no, she pretty much nailed it on the head there, trying to build 3 homes on the property,
Okay.
tear down the bad stuff.
Thank you.
So, all right, thank you.
Any questions for the applicant? No? All right. Appreciate it.
All right.
I will open up public comment.
No public comment.
None? All right. I'll close public comment. Discussion? Seeing none? I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the demolition of 15555 Hopewell Road.
I second.
We have a motion from Mr. Warlick, a second from Ms. Coker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Good luck. All right. Since we are done with demolitions for the night, we'll move on to courtesy reviews. This is 6A Chadwick Village, 13625 Arnold Mill Road.
All right, Mr. Chair, tonight we are going to do a courtesy review for Chadwick Village Phase 2. And this is only for building and architecture plan review. So location is 13625 Arnold Mill. The size of the property for the track 2A, which is the subject property of this discussion or review rather, it's 4.11 acres. It is zoned community business or C1. It's in the Arnold Mill area. Existing use is under development right now. So the applicant, Mr. Jeff Pittman, who's not here, but he's represented by the architect, Mr. Neil Waddle, who's going to present shortly. They request for a courtesy review of building an architecture plan for 3 buildings. So just an aerial view, just to you, just for perspective, where the subject site is. It's pretty close to the Chadwick landfill. And then just north of that, you have the McConnell Chadwick Homestead. This is not historic, but it's listed in the historic GIS from the state. Because Robin mentioned earlier, there's only 2 historic sites that was designated by the city as historic. But this is not one of them. However, this is listed in the GIS from the state. And just north of that, you see the Cherokee County. Just gonna show you some photos of the character of the area. You have the Chadwick landfill that's already been capped. It's closed. And then you have Legacy Park to the right. And then, of course, the Chadwick house, and then of course this is the new church, the Ebenezer Church, that was currently under construction. They're almost halfway done. So Chadwick Village is a 2-phase development. The first phase refers to track 2B with a total size of 1.98 that is bordered in red, and which is currently under development. And the second phase refers to track 2A with a size of 4.11 acres. And just for historical purposes, Design Review Board approved the building and architectural plan on December 7th, 2021 for the buildings to be built in Track 2B. These buildings includes a convenience store with gas pumps, an open-air pavilion, and a retail office building. In addition, the LDP for that Track 2B was also approved by DRB the following year. So now the subject for tonight's review is Track 2A. There are 3 buildings proposed to be constructed on this lot that would require building and architectural review before it comes back in June for the final review. So this is what that phase 1 looks like. DRB approved this. And then from this point, I want to turn over the presentation to Mr. Waddle, who's going to present the plan.
What do we have any questions for staff?
I'll come back after his presentation to do my
Okay.
analysis. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jackie. Good evening. How are you all?
Good evening.
Good. My name is Neil Waddle, architect on this project, representing my client Jeff Pittman and Jake Sherrill, who's the property owner. I'd like to walk you all through sort of our high-level concept of the 3 different building designs. As a prerequisite, there was a lot of agreements about this property with the city of Milton well before I was involved. And I think where it arrived was 3 separate buildings totaling the square footage that we designed to, at which point I was brought on board to kind of design vertical. I think what our client is looking to attract to the site is commercial clients, commercial office space, restaurant clients, things that the area may not have at the moment. So just wanted to give you a little bit of background even before I was involved. So I've got an architectural site plan that is a little rough. Granted, we're not the civil engineers. They'll be coming in for the land disturbance permit at some point soon. But again, I guess so the plan south is what we're calling building 1. That's a little bit more of the retail scale building since it's facing the main street, parking for it. We anticipate probably at least 1 or 2 restaurants renting that space. And then as you move up the page, buildings 2 and 3, we're calling them. The goal for those to be essentially identical for a lot of reasons: construction efficiencies, just having a similar look throughout the property. And then those would be most likely commercial office tenants. And we'll get into that if you all need to. Again, I'm not the real estate broker, but that's what I've been told as we're getting into the designs. Very standard, white box retail shell buildings. There'll be metal construction. I do, before we get into the elevations, want to talk a little bit about, we have taken the World Design Overlay Guidelines very seriously, as you'll see in this. However, they're larger than a single family home. So you got to balance that design with the scale of the buildings. And again, building 1's very similar, just scaled down just a tad. So getting into buildings 2 and 3, we'll start with those. Those are the larger buildings. We've also worked internally with the city of Milton's architect, as well as Jackie and her team, who have been a huge help in kind of helping us get to where we are. But we wanted a timeless look that was also, again, in concert with the World Design Guidelines. So you'll see some board and batten elements, some vertical metal standing seam siding, some metal standing seam roof. Again, trying to kind of bring that farmhouse vibe, but not go over the top with it. We see these as potentially 4 commercial office tenants that'll have the opportunity to build a mezzanine within the building, which is why you'll see some balconies and terraces on the ends of the building. Outdoor space, again, engaging the site itself, which is, I think, would be appealing to a potential tenant. And then the smaller building 1, again, kind of like I said, scaled down. So this could be suited for 1 larger restaurant. We could pop it out and do 2 smaller restaurants. But again, we feel it's a much better scale for a single story, single use tenant. And then getting into more detail on the materials. Again, we've got a brick water table. We've got some fiber cement siding materials, whether that's vertical seam. We've got board and batten. You see the gables very much in concert with the architectures that are around the area. Gooseneck wall sconces, some storefronts, spread out to look like single family kind of aesthetic windows. We're going to incorporate some screens and some greenery. and then incorporating some heavy timber elements as too. Again, all trying to create the vibe that the rural overlay is trying to go for. These are just Revit perspectives. Again, hopefully tonight goes well. And then for the final review, we would have material boards, photorealistic renderings to really show you all what these would look like. But I think tonight these should suffice. So again, we're envisioning 1, 2, 3, 4 tenants. But again, scaled architecture, we feel like it does fit in with the area, but it also would attract that commercial office tenant that we're looking for. Again, we've been working with the city of Milton and Bob and really kind of getting some good feedback on this in preparation for tonight. So I hope that was descriptive enough, and I'm here to flip back and forth and answer questions as needed.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Do we want to address applicant first, or we'll let Jackie finish up and then we'll bring you back up? How about that?
Okay. Perfect. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So Neil kind of already described the features of this proposed buildings, but from a staff analysis, we did look at design features, and from what we've seen, it depicts a modern farmhouse style incorporating architectural elements such as the heavy timber that Neil just mentioned. The overall architecture of the building complements the rural surroundings of Arnold Mill, especially that character area. There are several large properties fronting the corridor that boast equestrian facilities and other agricultural and residential uses that create that rural aesthetic feel. So the proposed architectural elements of the building include, and I'm just going to repeat it, Neil, we have brick, board and batten siding, standing seam metal roofs, metal roof awnings at the entrance of each building supported by the decorative brackets, an open air mezzanine, and more. So, but one of the special features that I think caught, staff attention is incorporating vegetation on this window. So something, in my 8 months in as DRB liaison, I've never seen something like this. So I just like to point it out. I think it's a unique feature. And so before I do my recommendation, we can go over the staff analysis that you have in your packet. Just basically, it summarizes what the standards we have using the Rural Milton Overlay District as our base. And then the description shows describing, the building, the elements and all that, and if the standards have been met. So we've indicated that on the last column. So if you have any specific questions on this analysis, I'd be happy to answer that. But to end this presentation, staff recommends the following details. It's more of like providing information. There's some details that are lacking, like such as the doors, windows, identifying colors of the brackets, and then provide more details of the balcony railings and other material used for the balcony / open air mezzanine. So since this is only a courtesy review, this is a good opportunity for the board to weigh in and give us our feedback before we come back next month for the final review. So I can answer any question or have Neil come back here if you have any questions for him.
Could you go to the picture of the gas station?
Okay.
How?
So just for perspective, this is Arnold Mill Road. The gas station is facing Arnold Mill as well as the small building. The gas station is behind it. And of course, you can access the property through Chadwick Farm Boulevard as well, and then Arnold Mill. So the proposed 3 buildings that we've described earlier will go 1 here and then 2 over here.
And the C-store and the gas station, that was all approved
That was
in
approved in
2022?
2021. Yes, ma'am.
And it's not built though currently?
No, so I went to visit the site. They've done grading so far.
Okay.
Their LDP was just approved recently as well.
Okay. So they've broken ground though?
Yeah.
Do you know if they're gonna, I mean, is the finished product gonna look more like this finished product that they're proposing?
So I investigated what was approved in the last, in 2021 and the board's recommendation. But what you see here, this is what they propose. I know it was like bright colors for the siding, but that's all the information I got.
Okay.
Is the applicant involved in this phase?
No.
Okay.
So it's entirely a different development team.
Okay.
Yes.
But the colors here are already approved?
Yes.
It's not,
This is probably not realistic.
yeah, because I was actually on I was on the board and that was going to be my recommendation is I would like to see the actual approved exteriors that, we did, that was approved in 2021
Okay.
of that.
If that's, we can bring that up in the next meeting if that's something that, I'd be happy to do my research and share that information.
Sure.
Yep.
Because there's a lot going on here. And so
Yes, okay.
I think we're heading in that direction, but I'd love to, unless there's any other questions for staff, bring the applicant back up so we can provide some feedback. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Okay. Couple things. I think staff's recommendations are correct. I'll just go ahead and start and then feel free to. I do think, so as I would say that I would like to see this come back. Obviously it will as a courtesy review, but the one thing that I do think should be in the packet should be, and whether or not staff provides that or not is the actual colors and renderings of the gas station and stuff that's currently there. Because right now you don't have any of the colors, the dark, which is like a black or iron ore, or I don't know. And then white, is it white? Is it pearl white? Is it cream? I mean, there's 1,000 different colors. So
Sure.
That stark contrast between that black and white in your renderings does not do this justice, in my opinion. I get the look that you guys are going for. So I just jotted down a couple things in my opinion, and board, please chime in, but it's too dark. There's only a little bit of the I'm going to call it cream, but white in here. The covered patio, I like that kind of open concept. In fact, they had and maybe staff can share this with you, but 7 acres barn, they were going to do this bed and breakfast kind of gig. I don't know if you were here when they did.
I
was a part of that
actually.
on the BZA.
Yeah.
Is that in Birmingham Crossroads?
Mhm.
It's
Correct,
7 acre?
yeah.
Okay.
They had a structure very similar to this, but the way that they did like those architectural details and stuff it was very well drawn and presented, right? I kind of understand where you're trying to go with the little picture you have in the corner, but we're going to need to see like some detail, right? Draw a little bit more so we can elaborate on that. So it just doesn't look like kind of like an open-ended barn, so to speak. I feel like this needs an additional accent color, whether it be the brick water table, maybe make that a stone, or not essentially do a brick that is going to be match or the same tone color as the board and batten is again a recommendation.
Just real quick, if just
Yeah.
hypothetically, if the colors were reversed, I'm just thinking this out loud. If the colors were reversed, where the mass of the building was more of a cream white, then the accent gables were more like an iron ore. I think that starts to maybe tell a better story.
Possibly, but I still feel like it's too much of a stark contrast between the two.
Okay.
I feel like there needs to be a third element in there, and that's why I was recommending maybe a different color brick or a stone accent in there that would soften that a little bit. So
Okay.
it's not just so avant-garde between, and just such a distinct, you see it, right? You see it a lot. There's, there's a lot of that kind of being built around, a lot of that in downtown Alpharetta, especially on the residential portion. I disagree with you on the timeless aspect. I don't think that's going to be around forever. White houses are kind of going away, but yet people still want them. But I think in 10, 20 years, you'll be able to drive around and say, I know that house was built in this time frame. Gutters too. I think you should put some gutters on there, whether it be gutters that match whatever color it is. I would probably go with, whatever color of the siding or the board and batten is, the gutters to either match that or to complement it. So either blend in or stand out. Landscaping, plantings too. No plantings, no landscaping. I think that's an important part. I do like what Jackie said about the landscape or the kind of covering up the windows and stuff like that with some kind of shrubbery. Or is it fake or is it real?
It'd be real. So I think when we come back next time, if we have more of a photorealistic series of renderings with hardscape, landscape, really maybe focus on some of the elements you're talking about, that would help.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to, and again, this is, all of our feedback, right? But for me, I don't think you need to go and spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. I think what you've got here is good. Just need to kind of add to it a little bit.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Like you said, bringing the color sample board and stuff like that. I don't even know if that's actually necessary if you can kind of replicate it on here.
Sure.
So one or the other, or, both if you want to. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I think it'd be easy to put a few more material sheets together that focus in on certain.
It'd be helpful.
Yep.
It'd be helpful.
Understood.
Yeah, I think in the renderings, if the timber accents were not as close to the same ironwork color, it may give a third color look in there.
Maybe like an oak instead of a.
Yeah, or even a cedar.
more of a-
I mean,
yeah.
just something that's a little lighter that would tone it down. But if you're going to switch the colors up, then I don't know.
I mean, like I said, I think the colors are certainly open for discussion, and we're not married to any style, really, like you were saying. So I will say, just to comment on the first phase on the gas station stuff, I wasn't super into the like unfinished board and batten look, because to me it looks like it needs to be painted.
That's exactly what I thought.
So
Yeah. So that was, I don't think that you need to go in and just
Okay.
make this look exactly like that. I think you've done it with your materials here to kind of reference that. But I think then the unfortunate part is that building is going to be built, and those are going to be the designs there. And then you're going to have these buildings right behind it that are going to completely,
Sure.
So yeah, contrast, right? Roof color too, add that in there too. It looks like stained metal.
Correct.
Yeah.
But there's not a color on there.
But that's something else to consider, maybe a lighter color to help lighten it
Oh, does
up.
it say dark? Oh,
Yeah,
it
it
does.
does
Okay,
say
okay.
it.
That's on me then. Sorry.
You're good.
I do think on some of those runs, and again, these are just some recommendations, especially on, I'm trying to figure out whether it's the east or west elevation. I like the fact that you have a bunch of the windows there. It's the front elevation of building 1. And that one's going to be facing the road, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So, maybe some shutters on there, something
Okay.
like that. The gable brackets, I think it'd be a nice touch instead of painting those the same color to blend in, is maybe staying those to match the awning brackets, because you've got the awning brackets there and you've got the what it looks like some cedar or heavy timber headers on there. So I think those would match too. Again, that would help kind of take away of it. And then on this here, it shows the white color going on the sides, right? Going up into that roof line and then cutting back on
Correct.
that.
It's kind of, it's supposed to read as like you have your east-west gable and then your other plan north-south gables kind of intersecting it to.
Yep. But then on, which elevation is it? You've got one of them elevation that it shows black.
I think that's just a shadow and printing, honestly.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like, yeah. Part of me wishes I would have done the renderings, but you know, I think for the
You
next,
didn't do these renderings?
huh?
You didn't do these?
No, we
renderings?
did. We designed in Revit, but we have Lumia on these other softwares that I could throw
Yeah,
this
got
in
it,
there
got
and
it.
do like for
Okay.
the next time. For us, it's not thousands of dollars. It's like we could do a quick exercise and some photorealistic stuff to throw in the hardscape, show how people can interact with this with
Yeah,
the
like an
change of materials.
inspiration photo.
And taking your all's comments and then next time being like, hey, here's what we've done. I think that would go a long way.
Yeah.
Because I look at this, I'm like, it's fine, but it doesn't really tell it's okay. Quality, like just like I wish we had rendered it.
So yeah, so just the colors, you know, a little bit more detail as far as the finishes and stuff on there that you're doing.
Sure.
It's petty, but I don't know if you'd be able to do it, but the pitch on those two front gables on building 2 and 3,
Mm-hmm.
I know it doesn't look like you can do it on building 1, but maybe change the pitch of that roof a little bit, bring that ridge up and maybe match it in, or even just maybe a foot down from your main ridge, left and right, to give those two gables a little bit more pitch, I think would.
So I think right now they're like at an 8, like a 10 or a 12.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's okay too. It looks like your sides are
Yeah.
at like an 8-12 as well.
Yeah, I
I think it'd be okay for those two to stand them out, just to put a little bit more of a pitch on those,
Cool.
on those two gables. So that's my soapbox. I'm gonna stop and let everyone else kind of.
I'd just like to see some more natural elements on the building, kind of like the building across the street where they use that old, was it flagstone or limestone on the building?
I was thinking the same thing.
Something like that, and maybe like, I don't know, maybe the what do you call it?
Gables.
Yeah, just two front
The
gables.
two front gables that come out, maybe do those like in limestone or something, and then the main part of the building in the batten board, and like lighten up, you know, bring some, instead of just all wood, dark colors, bring some
Something-
natural element in.
They could incorporate maybe if you want stone, something like that on the front elements, the front gables,
That's what I was thinking too.
to
like
stand
this.
off from the brick.
Yeah, or down the water table, do something
Okay.
that brings in. And I really think that the wood elements, the gables and everything should be a lighter, almost like a pine or,
So overall theme is like more earth tones.
Well, no, just I think what she's saying the same thing is
It
just
up.
adding that additional element. And I like what you said as far as the natural element is adding that in there. That could be your third tone.
Okay.
I actually don't oppose I'm going to assume it's iron ore,
Yeah.
not like an ebony or anything like
Sherwin's
that.
iron, you got it.
Because, iron ore and then, white dove, right? The
Right.
two most popular colors. But by adding that natural accent to it, whether it be water table, whether it be on, those two front gables, I think it'll really pop more so than just kind of that stark contrast of
Okay.
black and white.
Yeah, I think to summarize, it sounds like what you all are saying is the board and batten is very similar to that brick color that's being proposed. And then you have your white gables, which pop it out, but then they're trying to maybe incorporate something more organic, another
Yeah.
material in there.
Yeah, the
to
black
help.
material is actually more intended to be, or iron ore is more like a vertical seam, like a barn almost, but like out of fiber cement, right? And then
Yeah.
the bump outs are more like a true board and batten.
Mhm. But the color is so similar to the brick, at least in this rendering,
Yeah.
that it's hard to even differentiate it.
Sure.
Can you confirm do we know the uses of this?
No, that's tough. Sometimes the tough job being the architect is, I know our broker's going after, like I said, commercial office, but that can range from a lot of different things. So
you're only doing the shell?
yes, I will end up doing the tenant build outs, but it's like the cat and the mouse game of like, we've got to sell this to potential leases, but
Mhm.
we also can't get too far in, and then maybe that doesn't work. So right now we're trying to get through these initial design approvals, and then we're really going to push for bringing tenants on board, doing test fits and things like that.
And then you'll do a build to suit afterwards.
That's right.
Okay.
Does the parking, is that adequate for, say, office space?
I can't speak for the civil engineer, but I know that, again, well before I was brought on, that was decided and I think agreed to by the city. But I know they're going to be submitting for LDPs here soon. So I will relay that comment.
So
It was
in
part of the
June,
criteria.
yeah, in June, we are presenting this LDP
Okay.
application for that track.
Okay.
So we will address all of that as well, as far as the parking.
Okay, that's helpful. So if we wanted to comment on, say, connectivity on this site, we would bring that up then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So it looks like basically on all of these buildings, the rear and the front are mirrored in terms of design. Is that accurate to say?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, again, we're playing real estate as best we can. So we want to offer ultimate flexibility. So if this building wants to be 4 tenants, it looks super clean. You got 4 masses that they put their sign on there, whatever. It could be 1 tenant, and then we just kind of rework the signage, or it could be 2. It could be so. That's one of the challenges of designing for commercial real estate, and trying to kind of plan for the future. But that is to answer your question, correct?
Because you don't want to pigeonhole the possible tenant
That's
so
right.
much, but. Yeah.
And again, I think this is some cool, because the way the gables we're doing that as far as the design is on the interior, we could offer a mezzanine that would tie into the exterior, right? So a tenant could have 2,000 square feet, but then the back half could be raised to have the mezzanine, which would be something you probably, a little bit more progressive and kind of cool. So overall, feeling okay so far. Just got to get some material updates and get some of these comments into the design. And
I think so. Is there any
I like the
other-
design. It's just the colors and the materials
Okay.
need to be
Yeah.
tweaked.
It's a good
Yeah.
concept. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, I think overall, especially a building of this size, location and all that stuff, just a little bit more detail to it.
Sure.
Some of those things that were discussed tonight, I think most importantly is it's unanimous with the group is some sort of natural architectural, no one to keep costs down, but any kind of stone or something like that to really help that, I think would help this pop. So.
Cultured stone's very similar in cost to hardy plank nowadays.
Yeah, after you install it and paint it and all that, and less maintenance.
Similar.
And then we need to make sure that phase 1 is cohesive with phase 2.
I agree. I think that whether it be staff or whether it be, you guys, when you come back, is we'd like to kind of at least see that, right? I think relatively, I do remember, and I think you've got like materials of that too. But it may be difficult to have something this size be as just plain as that one was.
I think some material color changes and updates, like you all are saying, will go a long way. And then I think having a little bit more detailed design presentation, like I said, with some renderings to where y'all can actually see this sort of in real life. Much like the gas station renderings, but even more refined to show hardscape cars and people, and so.
Yep, that's the purpose of the courtesy review, right? So,
Yep.
Love it.
Okay, was there any other questions or comments?
I just had one. I'm just trying to realize or find out where it is. Where is the green screen going to be?
So on the ends of the building, the last column of windows are actually exterior space. So to kind of build that into the design, instead of that being glass, we said, what if we did a metal frame that had a mesh inset to look like a window, but then we would grow vegetation on that.
Okay. So in reality, this rendering, there would be green.
We'll render some really cool plants in there.
Okay. And it will be just the area where the window.
Yeah, and then I think depending on the way the site plan works out, we may actually take a couple of those down to the ground and be pass-throughs for pedestrians. We're still working through some of the site planning, so.
I would show that green on there too.
Yeah, we will.
Right. Okay.
I'm excited to show you all the renderings. I'll just say that. Especially after the updates.
We're almost there.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? No. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time.
We'll open up public comment.
Oh, we have none.
None. Okay. We'll close public comments. Board discussion. No. Okay.
I think we've discussed it all.
Yeah. So on this, I think, do we need to make a motion to agree to kind of what we've discussed?
Yeah, so the last time what we did is you made a motion to consolidate all of this comments
Mhm.
and to recommend it to the director.
Okay,
So that's what we did
okay.
last time.
Do you need us to repeat those comments?
I know there's a
I
lot,
knew
but
you were gonna
I
say
did note all of that, and I will review the video. So I'll make sure I'll capture all the comments, but if we can just formally say, we're making a motion to recommend the following comments mentioned earlier to Community Development Director.
Okay.
Then we'll,
All right, so then, since I was long-winded, I'll make the motion. I'll make a motion for approval of the
No,
recommendations.
recommendation, yeah.
For 6A Chadwick Village, 13625 Arnold Mill Road, of the discussions that were made tonight regarding the architectural and design elements of the proposed building.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mr. Warlick, a second from Ms. Gagney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Yeah.
Excited about this one. Thank you for your time. Okay. Moving on. And thank you, everyone, for your patience tonight. We had a little bit longer than normal agenda. All right, 7A, final reviews. City of Milton Fire Station 45, 13801 Birmingham Highway.
So yes, Mr. Chair, tonight we are now reviewing both the site and building for final review. Okay, this is, we've shared this general information last time when we did the courtesy review. And so I'm just gonna repeat it. The location of this property is 13801 Birmingham Highway. The size of the parcel is 2 acres. It is zoned civic building site, and existing use would be a public/government facility. And we're here tonight to request a final review of Fire Station 45 for building and site plans. And we also have the architect, Mr. Joey Waterford. And of course, we have Fire Chief is here, and Rob Del Ross, who is the project manager as well for this. Showing the location one more time. So the building and site plans were presented to Design Review Board for courtesy review on April 9th, which is just last month. At the meeting, the board unanimously recommended the following comments for consideration. So the first one is add non-deciduous trees in place of some of the deciduous trees. Number 2 is explore the option of adding a single dormer in the west elevation of the building to break up a long line of roof line. And number 3 is the board requested to find out some information regarding the requirements for a sidewalk along for their presentation. So the sidewalk is actually not required. The current city code only requires a sidewalk constructed along the city right of way if the property is within half a mile of a school or an active park, or if the property is located in a transit zone such as Crabapple here.
Got it.
So.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yep, anytime.
All right, great. Thank you. Jackie?
Oh, okay. Just give me 1 second. We're just gonna transfer some file. Sorry about that.
Mhm. Were we getting a presentation ready or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm just transferring a file.
We're going to take a
Sorry about that.
brief
Yeah.
pause.
Yep.
Yeah, go for it. Tie that into it.
Yeah.
Let's check. Yep, we did. Yep, got it. Sorry about that.
Oh, like width.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna open Ice Plaza.
Not even on this one either.
This looks like.
But I think it's
Just
perspective
close.
because it's on that angle. See how close that is to the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll go through the dormer. Yeah, it's just a little zoomed. If I touch it, it's okay. You can still see it.
And then I have in here.
Okay.
So
Okay. Hi, my name's Troy Bodiford, the architect for MSSA PVK, and I'm presenting the City of Milton Fire Station number 45, the final aspect of it. So we updated the cover sheet. There's a few things that we've added. This plaza over here, you'll see a slight adjustment to the building height. We started incorporating a bunch of systems in here, so the building grew just a little bit. So that sort of thing.
Did you change the pitch on the roof or is
Nope.
that still the same?
Still the same.
Okay.
None of that moved. It's very subtle, and I'll show that in the elevations.
Okay.
Here was the infamous sketch from Chief.
The
The
napkin
elevation,
sketch, yeah.
It's made it. It's on here now.
I like that.
We're
Me
good. So the dormer comment. We did look at studying variations of the dormers. You can kind of see right here on the left side and left and right side. We feel like it actually takes away from that modern farmhouse sleek look. They look kind of stuck on. It didn't really do it any justice when we modeled it and kind of played around with it and looked at the scale of it. And then the other major factor of it, than the aesthetic portion of it, is that the cost of these dormers, just fake dormers, are roughly $10,000 each. So when you factor in how many we're putting in here to make it look close to aesthetically pleasing, it's $30,000 extra dollars, and those are $30,000 extra dollars we can provide towards the FF&E or life-saving equipment for the firefighters as opposed to dormers. So we did look at it pretty in depth. And, well, that's a blank page. No. I swear there's stuff there.
Try to zoom in and see if that helps.
Yeah, let's see. I
Sometimes,
zoomed in and I zoomed out.
I think it's just not loading. It just didn't load properly.
Yeah, let me grab my copy.
Okay, let's try again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what.
There's a Rivian, Jetta.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's what it was. Okay. A little nervous touching. Okay, we got it. Okay. Another comment was incorporating evergreen trees on the west side of the property, to the west of where the dumpster pad is. We added some evergreen trees there. This new plaza that Chief is going to talk about also has some evergreen elements added to it. There were some minor floor plan adjustments, and even then there's still just a few more minor things like the ice chest that's in the middle of the property or the middle of the development at the near the tool shed or the tool storage area. And so you can see now that there's a little bit added height at the apparatus bay. It still has a good massing in comparison to the rest of the development. It all unanimously grew 2 feet to allow for all the building systems to properly fit and work and function. And then the other side, and on this west elevation, you can now see it's still that modern, sleek look that we're going for, and the updated renderings also help with that. Here to then the updated colors. And so these are just kind of repeats of what we have already shown before. It's just the updated massing and size of the building. And so this is where they got the updated ones. Yeah.
This one, because your packet has this version, so we thought we want to just show you that way you'll see the difference once I load the other revised version of this. So, yep, it's a surprise. But this is what they've submitted originally for the plaza. This is the concept plan.
Brought the 18 rendering team to do this work.
Okay. Last page for that, and then I'll go ahead and open. This one here. Oops, sorry. Okay, so this is now the new version.
Good evening, board members, Gabriel Ben Musa, Fire Chief. So as we started talking, took some of those comments, my vision for that area, because it's going to be like towards the roundabout, so that plaza, which we're going to call a public safety, Milton Public Safety Plaza, we want it to be a good public space so that people can, if they want to come in there and sit and reflect. What we're thinking about, obviously the 3 flags in the middle, we're going to center that plaza to the entrance, the main entrance. And as well, we're going to be working with the Milton First Responders Foundation to fund 2 statues, and they're bronze statues of a firefighter and a Milton police officer that will sort of be the corner of the plaza. Is there another rendering here on that?
Yeah, just go to this folder.
So you'll see in the corners right there, kind of anchoring the arc, the semicircle of the arbor, and they'll be facing the flags. So what we did is put three flag poles and have a wall, and it would be like a couple of benches in there. Then the two bronze statues of a rendering of Milton firefighters and police officers. So, but this will be facing the roundabout as a space. And as you can see, I think we're doing the sidewalk, right? Because you can see on the side, that sidewalk will connect to the public sidewalk. Yep, right there to the side. This is what it would look like. Huh? That's the look from the main entrance. So before it was off-center, now we've centered it with that. The flagpoles will be probably the standard what we have sort of out here. So it wouldn't be like some massive flagpole, but it would match what we typically use in the city. Yeah, standard. Yeah. But that's sort of what we have now as a final plan for that. So
Great.
yep. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Okay. Any questions for the applicants? No? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll open public comment, or do you have some more?
I have one more thing.
Okay.
Just a recommendation. So after reviewing the proposed plan with addition and the plaza, we do recommend approval. However, we need some more details as far as to provide more details on garden arbor during the building permitting process. So it's not going to come back to DRB, but this is more for the second stage, which is going to building permitting. So we just want information on height, length, color of that arbor, as well as the outdoor stone. Those elements need to also complement with the principal building color. And of course, for the monuments or statues that they're proposing, we also need some details on that one. And then lastly, I think I did mention this during the courtesy review, is if they're planning to do signs, we need sign details when they submit their application for signage.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Question for you, Jackie. So you're talking about the trellis essentially?
Yes.
If we were to make a recommendation to essentially same size and style and color as
Whatever in the
the
principal
building is,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And same thing with the foundation of it, whether the brick to either match the brick water table of the, okay.
That's correct.
But not necessarily the pavers, or is that a part of it as well?
So I'm not exactly sure for the materials of the pavers.
Mhm.
So I think maybe that's something that the board can chime into. What do they suggest?
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great, actually.
Yeah, so the pavers are gonna be just your normal typical paver that you see that'll be engraved from donors. So it's
Okay.
gonna be a smooth face. It might have a beveled perimeter.
Mhm.
We don't wanna disrupt that brick, because when you're removing it and that sort of thing, I read online, like it could actually like damage the brick.
Right.
So it's gonna be set in like a sand bed, really nice look to it, real clean. But the paver itself will be smooth face, beveled edge, real clean. It'll have a border around it as well. A small contrast, but it won't be red. It's not gonna be like a red brick. It'll be
Okay.
like, yeah. Like we looked at it and we're just
I
going,
mean, like Braves
Yeah,
game
yeah.
red, you
Yeah,
know?
it'll complement what the stone that we have across there, that like cool blue, but it's gonna be a warmer gray, not necessarily exactly like it.
Okay.
Not too harsh, clean enough.
I think as far as the trellis, we're gonna match the sort of with the
Yes.
wood features that.
Complement each other. Okay.
Yes.
I'd agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that stone wall, what, is that going to complement the building as well?
It'll be the same stuff.
material?
Yes.
Okay.
Same stone. Mhm.
Same stone and what they're going to use for the water table.
Exact same stone.
Okay. All right. Any questions for the applicant or for staff? No? All right, I'll open up for public comment.
We have none.
All right, seeing none, I will close public comment and open up for board discussion.
So are the dormers on or off?
So we made a recommendation last time, and I think honestly on the dormers, I kind of agree with you. I think I probably should have specified, and I don't know, just based on the rendering, if gables would work on top of those dormers versus just the shed roof on there.
Honestly, it didn't make the cut because you already had your main entrance as a gable and you had your flanking gables. And it was just like this gable yard. So we didn't even look at it. We tried to incorporate the shed roof because that was an element that had like a low slope that we used throughout. So it only made sense to have that shed roof. But what happened is that sleek, long, like that modern look that we were going for, it really just looked stuck on. It was almost like an afterthought.
Yep.
So we all kind of like incorporate all the comments from other architects and things like that. They're just like,
Yeah, I get it.
yeah,
Well,
everyone.
The other thing is the view coming in there too, that the pitch on that shed roof would be so low, you wouldn't really see that. You would just see these little boxes.
Yeah.
So
I thought the dormers looked weird
Yeah.
from the drawing.
well, that was my concern too with, beforehand is because the building and where the front entrance is not necessarily symmetrical, as you pointed out. It does kind of look off.
And it does disrupt that roof line. I think that what was it, Galvalume? What's the?
Yeah, Galvalume.
It's so pretty. It's a really nice standing seam metal that I think it's going to look great.
Yep.
And the dormers off.
So I would say, yeah, but my vote would be to just go back to the original without the dormers. But I do appreciate you showing us that just
Of
so we
course.
can kind of have at least a
Yeah.
perspective of it. And I think that helped make it easier of a decision. So,
Of course.
I know this is final review and everything, but is there another, just looking at the roof line of the main part and then the roof line behind it of the
apparatus bay.
The apparatus bay what if you changed the color of one of the roofs so it didn't look like it's all one giant roof?
So you can see my cursor. So you're talking about looking at it this angle?
Yeah, like if the apparatus bay had a different color roof.
That would actually look kind of cool to bring attention to that
Yeah, because it's such a cool.
massing. You could do even like isn't blue incorporated in here? You could do a different color standing seam.
Yeah, and we actually have it on that. It's the second entry, the back side of it. It's that varied lap siding. It's that nice blue that we have on the back side. We did look at incorporating like an asphalt shingle roof in there, and it just didn't complement it. It was too much contrast, if that made sense.
What about a different color standing seam? Just even slightly, just something to differentiate it.
So the Galvalume has a texture to it. If you went with a painted standing seam, it would actually look kind of like that right outside there. It's just flat, like a flat gray. So the only difference would be it's more matte and then like texture to the Galvalume versus like painted.
It won't have the same sheen.
Yeah.
Are we thinking like maybe a black for that apparatus bay that stands out against that, or what colors are?
I think that may be a little too.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
I know, it's really, it's
Now, we
kind of,
did look
it's a
at
great
black,
idea.
remember?
Well, but not the full roof black, but what would it do if you just did black on the apparatus bay? And then the rest of it, that color, would that, kind of gives it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It'd be almost like a barn feel.
Yes.
of the apparatus bay, and then everything else is the building.
But it may not even have to be that stark of a contrast.
Right.
I mean, it could be just something that's a little different than the Galvalume.
What
Just something
colors?
different to bring attention to it.
Man, I had red on there. Remember?
He had
Very-
red.
I mean, I
But-
love the red, like the red
But the
roof.
red, I think, is a little bit.
It was over the top.
Over
It
the
was over
top.
the top, but I had to do it.
I get like barn color
Yeah.
red, which is not completely red, it's like burgundy almost,
Mhm.
you know, but,
Mhm.
I mean, we're open to any suggestions. This is a community building, so. we'll
Yeah.
welcome any,
I don't think you're on a bad path though. What about the pergola or the cupolas?
Oh, changing the color there.
I think that would help. And then I don't know, yeah, I think that would help tone down that a little bit to your concern. But then also too is how weird would it be is if that apparatus bay was the red?
The body of the building was
Mhm.
red, like a barn.
Well, the public safety building on Highway 9 you can see through that apparatus bay, and at night they got the red
Mhm.
lights going
Yeah.
on, which is a really eye-catching moment as you're driving by. There's a fire station. Obviously, that's not this look, in my opinion, but
we're gonna do it in here too, on the
Okay,
inside.
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do the red in the
That's a nice feature.
at night, so at night it's not like this bright light, so
Right.
it's kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we did the apparatus bay completely different, like the body and the roof?
Yeah.
Like its own entity.
Is red a color, an approved color? Or
Yeah, it's
barn
on the
red?
barn, it's on the barn doors.
I think if we say so.
There you go.
It's right here.
So I
I
think.
mean,
the barn-
staff will correct us if we're wrong, but
But I don't, do
We
we want
can,
red?
well, I
That
have to
might be too
review
stark.
the color scheme, but, but if barn red is there, then that's certainly we can.
it's already there. It's on the doors.
Yeah.
Right? And it's on the barn doors and stuff like that. And
But
it's
it's more of an
really not
accent.
that much. I mean, it's just,
So it's just a cupola roof?
No, the actual.
The
apparatus
actual,
bay.
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, just the gable side of it. And then the
the
back side of it too.
Are you saying for the roof or the,
Yeah, well-
the
building.
siding?
The
For
actual-
the siding?
Yeah, the wall.
Oh, I know. That's
And
why
then
I
would the
did
doors be a
dormers, so
different
it's
red
hard to
then,
see.
a different color? Or would it all
We'd
be
have to
red?
change the doors from red.
Yeah, maybe black or something. They've got enough
Yeah, I would
windows on
say
them.
change the doors. If we say go to like a bronze for the roof, go to the doors be a bronze also.
Mhm.
Well, it's kind of hard to visualize about the roof color, but we can certainly give that suggestion to community development director.
Yep.
If you're considering, a different colors for the roof, because it's all galvalume. And we can certainly state that.
I think it's a good call, right? So we can make the recommendation and ultimately
And then,
the development director would have.
Joey can help us, if he can do just a rendering, just
Oh,
to
yeah.
show Bob what that looks like, and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'll get A
Determine
team
from
in,
code.
and then I'm B team rendering on this. So.
Okay. What are y'all's thoughts?
I like making the recommendation and then they can make the final call.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
Okay. All right, so our recommendation shall be then.
gosh. Everything discussed?
Video replay.
Yeah, so I think one we'll say is to remove the dormers. Go back to the original, design without the dormers there. I think they just make it look, you said it right, just kind of off. Without that symmetry really on that side. And I think at this point reinventing the wheel is just not in anyone's best interest. So I think remove the dormers, go back with the plan. And so the question is whether we make the recommendation to just change the roof color on the apparatus bay or change the actual front and walls, which is very minimal of it, of the apparatus bay and also the cupolas. Yeah. To that same color, which again then would change the barn doors if we say that, and then, or the recommendation to make that standing seam metal roof just for the apparatus bay a color to match, say, the doors. That sound like something we can get on board with?
Yeah, renderings would be very helpful with all that.
Yep. Well, but this, if we make that recommendation for those, then it wouldn't come back to us.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
No, this is final review. That's,
Yeah,
I was a little hesitant bringing it up.
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
it's a great
ultimately, I
idea.
think if we make that recommendation for the community development director, then he can make the ultimate.
Yes, he can
Okay.
weigh in and, again, we have to look at what that looks like in the rendering.
Yeah, okay.
Great recommendations, though,
So then do we want to do we make a motion? Does anyone want to make a motion on the recommendations that we had tonight?
Are we getting specific?
Well, you've noted those down, or do
I
we need
did
to?
wrote it down.
Okay.
So same thing as what we did with the courtesy review.
All right, so I'll make the motion to recommend the things that we spoke about tonight regarding the City of Milton Fire Station 45.
Okay.
I second.
All right, so we have a recommendation from Mr. Jackson and a second from Ms. Coker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to
Thank you.
seeing this thing.
Yeah,
That'd be
me
good.
too. I like it.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the presentation too, like I wish we could show this to the applicant beforehand. This is, you guys have really done, I mean, even with the napkin drawing.
napkin
And that
drawing.
was.
It's good to
Thank
have that
you
on
very
record.
much. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to our last and final review of the night with 7B 123 Total Fitness is 12874 Highway 9 North.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So our last case for tonight is 123 Total Fitness, and this is for a final building review. Just to give you a little information again, just of course repeating it from the last presentation. The location is 12874 Highway 9 North. The size of the property is 1.36 acre. It is zoned T5 within the Deerfield Form-Based Code. Existing use is commercial. And Mr. Ward, the architect for this project, is coming back to request another review of the revised staircase. Show the aerial map of the location of the proposed building. And again, the site plan where that building is going to be built. So last month, April 9, we present the proposed staircase to design review board. As you can see in the images on this slide, the previous plan shows a staircase to be built in the east elevations and north elevation. And however, DRB unanimously agreed that the location of those staircase is so prominent that neighbors can see it. So that's one of the main reasons why that plan got denied. Okay. So now we did talk to Bob, and hey, this is what DRB recommends denial because of the location of the staircase. It is visible from the north as well as in the south location. Considering that north has a neighborhood, Kinsley subdivision. So, and when I went to visit the property, just to see if there's enough screening between the subdivision and the building, there's just, the trees are very spread apart. So from there, you can really see the building. So we talked with Bob, Mr. Ward joined us, and we talked about a plan on how we can make sure that that staircase is less visible, incorporated in the building design. And so this is what we come up, is adding a wall. So I'm showing you in this screen wall that is viewed from the south elevation. As you can see, the material will have to match the principal building. They're using the same brick, the same mortar. And this is the view from the neighborhood when you look at the back part of the building. So you're looking at the north elevation. And from the east elevation, as you can see, it is semi-enclosed. You'll just see the wall on each side, just to cover the north and south elevation. And then, but the rest is showing. You have the south privacy wall and the north privacy wall.
Who faces that east elevation?
I'm sorry, what?
What is facing that east elevation?
Oh, so what faces east elevation is actually a parking space. There's a building next to it, but it's their backyard and it's parking. And in between are trees. So.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to show a Google map just to give you perspective on that one too. So this is one angle that shows the proposed landscape that will go in that east elevation. Just to conceal a little bit of the metal stairs. So just a summary, the proposed staircase that was revised, staircase to be built only in the east elevation of the building. It's semi-enclosed walls and the materials and color to match the principal building. So we did talk to Bob. Actually, Bob helped us sketch, what he thinks would be a good compromise here to conceal the stairs. And as you notice, there's a doorway. Actually, it's open, right? There's no gate or anything. So. And with that, staff recommends approval of the proposed staircase and the screening with the following comments. So make sure that if approved, they have to update the architectural plan for the building permit to reflect the new revised staircase. And then, of course, just to match the material that used in the principal building and use that for the screen walls. And the two notes there, those are the elements or the materials that we approved back in October. So, and Mr. Ward is here if you have any additional information. Okay, that I missed.
Last but not least, and everybody waited around for us.
Thank you for your patience. At least you know you're not going to have any public comment.
So one thing, and Jackie did a great job of explaining it. One other thing that I think will give you some satisfaction that we were listening is last month, in addition to the stair being spread out and wrapping the back corner, now it's more concise. But we also had an exposed ladder, if you remember, up to the roof with a notch in the parapet. It was kind of ugly and complicated. That ladder and roof access is in the building now. So that part's gone as well, cleaned up. Other than that, I think Jackie explained it.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
No.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, I'll open public comment.
We have none.
I will close public comment. Discussion?
So the building looks so symmetrical, and then you have the stair thing on the side of it. It's like what if they put like vegetation trellis or something on the brick
So I remember, so this is, if you look at the site plan, it's far back.
Yeah, nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, if you're facing the front of this building, literally that stairwell is so far back on it, you're not even gonna see it. And so I
You'll see
think,
it from that little opening.
and plus two is based on kind of like, I went back and looked at the site plan, so based on kind of where that sun, and then just the height of the building next to it, anything that you did plant right there, not gonna.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything. It's a
So
cool
here's a
looking
site
building.
plan just for reference.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so are the stairs on the top, or can you use your cursor and show us where the stairs are?
On the.
No, go back on the site.
Yeah,
plan,
go
Jackie.
back to the other one.
Site plan?
Just
Okay.
what corner, that side
So
there?
it's right here.
Yep.
This is where the stairs
Mhm.
go.
Gotcha.
And they start so far back that.
And the neighborhood is on the, yeah.
Right here.
Okay.
Yeah, it starts right here.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Highway 9 is right here.
So I'm just going to ask, when Ms. Jackson mentioned it was something that was brought up by previous board members, I thought about not accepting public staircases, exterior, period, right? Or is it, I understand that, and I appreciate the efforts to conceal this. I'm just trying to know from my own.
I think I think really the biggest part of that is just free floating staircases, essentially like what you have on
Yeah.
the Mayfield buildings over here, and even really on the back of
Yeah.
Crab. What is it? What are we calling that?
Where
again?
Starbucks, the Market District or,
Market
yeah.
But I think so having it just completely open, this iron metal structure, it wasn't necessarily the structure itself, it was the fact that it's just this wide open thing. So by masking it, you're still allowing the tenant access to get to utilize the building, right? It's not over any setbacks or anything like that. Really from the front and from any kind of view, whether it be residential or anything like that, it's distorted to a point to where it's not going to be just openly, whereas beforehand it wrapped that building and came around and was just this free floating staircase.
It had more to do with the look of it and not wanting to be industrial looking as opposed to like wanting to keep it Milton looking.
Mm-hmm.
Could you
Is
go?
this considered industrial looking, or is it okay because it's more concealed?
Well, it's concealed, and in my opinion, it now ties it into the building and it blends it in. Good call, right? Versus just
Put it there.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, could you bring up like the Google map and to show like what could be built on the side where the stairs are?
There's a building with
Just-
a parking lot next to it. It's
Yeah.
actually, we've approved the building. It's a it was an insurance building, I believe, and they made it into a co-working or a multi-divided space. So it's just, I have it right there if you actually really want to.
Yeah, I just didn't, for future
Yeah,
developers that come, I just want them,
they'd have to knock out that entire building next to
Yeah.
it to do anything.
yeah.
So David, the location of the building will go here.
Mhm.
So the south is facing the parking lot, the north's facing the neighborhood, and you have, of course, the east and west. So this is where that staircase is gonna be. So as you can see, the neighbors is just trees and their parking lot. So
Could something be built where those trees are?
when you say built between those trees,
Where the trees are?
Or is that part of their lot?
Could something be developed there?
for this one, I don't think so.
No, the
I mean,
lot
this-
to the left of where your cursor was.
So circle that to your left.
So it's the same zoning as what this is.
Mhm.
So what could be built there would be essentially,
And so it's never going to be I mean, the public's never going to see it.
No.
Because
No.
it's so far
Mhm.
back.
No.
I think the idea was just not to, I mean, you have walkable area. You don't want cheap looking exposed staircases in the pride of Milton
correct.
type thing.
Won't be cheap.
No.
Not with brick walls on
No.
either side, no.
Yeah.
But it's less expensive than enclosing it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Takes away leasable area. And I will say, just one more thought. And this may not be a aesthetic thing, but you need to be aware there is a safety factor, especially when kids are involved. And the lower level of this is an athletic training thing. So they do train middle school, high school, and college kids. And this applies to churches and schools and other things where kids are part of the occupant load. And I've heard this more than once in just in the last few months. An enclosed stair is a place where teenagers especially go hide out and do things they shouldn't be doing. When it's open to view, they're not going to do that. So again, it's a functional thing. It's a safety thing. Yeah, it doesn't get into the color of the stair, which is your concern, but you should be aware. Sometimes it calls for an open, visible transparency when kids are involved.
I agree with
I
that.
agree,
Being
too.
this is concealed back behind a bunch of stuff, and if you're not back there, you're not going to know what's going on after hours.
Be back there.
That's why, in my opinion, I think this is a good compromise to what you had before versus just making it completely enclosed, taking up interior space. I think you did a good job on where you were to where you are.
It's semi-enclosed, so there's still,
Yeah.
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 Well, it
Like-
takes our concern away of
of the,
right. So
And where is the landscaping going to be?
so that would be in the east side of the building. So you know where the staircase that's
Okay.
exposed. Some plantings there.
Those little circles are.
Well, the wall goes through
Goes
it
through.
Yes.
because it's an exit stair. So we got to get them back to the public sidewalk.
mhm.
But the open side of that stair, and I went there today because they graded it. We got the LDP, so we've done some clearing and grading. But from the property line over to that parking lot is thick, actually, with underbrush and pine trees. And there's no reason to clean that up. We're going to leave it thick. So nobody's even going to see that side.
I agree with you.
Like you mentioned earlier, it's a good compromise because in the, in the original plan, it's an interior stairs, but that's like 300 square feet total if it's inside the building.
On both levels.
On both
So-
levels. So
And
that.
and both of my clients are the owner occupants. So this is not a developer thing where they're going to flip it. No, they're in this building.
And it frees up some space for their gym equipments, right?
Right.
to put on. Yep.
Okay. Any other comments or concerns? No? Okay. Seeing none and no public comment, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the final review of 123 Total Fitness.
A second.
Right. We have a motion from Ms. Gagney, a second from Mr. Jackson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Good job.
Thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
back, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Just about there for the night. Since we already moved 8A new business to the forefront, I will go to 9 old business. Any old business? Seeing none, I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yep.